One of the biggest issues that I had when I first started training was knowing what type of cardio to do, to be able to lose as much fat as possible. And utilising overtraining and doing more cardio as a way to lose and drop body fat, or to be able to get shredded and lean. And you can't necessarily do all the cardio in the world but eat like shit. So before, I want to preface this video with saying, when it comes to your cardio, it needs to be facilitated by creating a calorie deficit from your food. The foods that you eat and the quality of nutrients that you eat is going to dictate how much fat you lose. Without creating a calorie deficit through food, and without utilising good food sources to be able to fuel your body, you ain't going to be able to get the most out of your training, and you ain't going to be able to drop body fat. So that was what I want to preface the video with. If you are someone that avoids cardio like the plague, don't. Cardio is a tool to be able to create a further deficit. So whether you bike, whether you run, whether you swim, whether you fucking use the Stairmaster, whether you go on the cross trainer, at the end of the day, it's all to do the same thing. It's to create a calorie deficit. Now, what I find is when I do the bike, when I use the cross trainer, when well, I'm not gonna say swim, because I can't fucking swim. But when I use something like that, I am a little bit lazy. I find it easy to slack. I put myself in a situation where, especially when I'm tired, especially when I'm further into a deficit, especially when food gets a little bit lower or body fat's lower, I find it's harder to burn more calories, to get the most out of cardio, because I just haven't got the energy to facilitate the amount of work that I need to do to get the most out of it. Whilst with the Stairmaster, I feel it no matter what body weight I am. I get the most bang for my buck. And the only difference is, all I do, and when I get fitter, I just move the intensity up by increasing how fast the stairs move and how often I step up a set of stairs. So when it comes to the Stairmaster, I feel like you get the most bang for your buck. A lot of people hate it, and a lot of people find that it's the most difficult, but that's the point. Cardio is there to create a calorie deficit and to be difficult. You want to sweat, you want to increase your heart rate, you want to get your heart rate between 120 to 140 BPM, and you want to have some sort of means to be able to track that. And if you don't track your heart rate, because I don't have a watch right now, I just base it off how hard I feel like I'm working, how heavy my breathing is. That's what dictates how hard I feel like I'm working when it comes to my cardio. The type of cardio you do doesn't matter. Most people have to do whatever they fucking enjoy. If that means you go out on a bike ride and you cycle for 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes, that's exactly what you do. If you want to get on the cross trainer because you find Stairmaster hurts your knees too much and you don't actually get as much out of it because you can't spend as long doing it, use the cross trainer. If you are someone like me who gets on a bike or uses the cross trainer or can't fucking swim, and you can't get as much bang for your buck because you just don't really feel like going as hard as you should, the Stairmaster's going to be your best bet. A lot of the time, a question that people tend to want to know is, how much cardio should I do? Now, a big issue that I had in the past was doing a little bit more than I should to begin with and burning out quite quickly. The first thing that you want to do is focus on food. It's focus on nutrition. It's creating a calorie deficit through the food that you're eating and making sure that you're minimizing hunger as much as you can by having food as high as you physically can whilst creating a deficit while seeing a steady rate of loss. The cardio that you do is going to be a tool. So if you're someone that does absolutely naff cardio right now, even by starting by doing 10 minutes post-workout, 3, 4, 5 times a week is going to be more than enough to be able to use as a metric to see if you are moving in the right direction. If you're tracking your body weight is moving down. If you are visually seeing changes, well, guess what? The deficit is doing its thing. You don't need to do any more cardio, whether you feel like it or not. If you've hit a bit of a brick wall and a bit of a plateau and your weight isn't moving anymore, visually you aren't seeing any more changes, that's when you want to increase the amount of cardio you're doing. So me, for example, right now with the cardio that I'm doing, I started off at 20 minutes 4 times a week. Why? Because it's the easiest thing that I can possibly do right now, and it's the minimum that I don't actually mind starting with. I can fit it into my lifestyle and I can make it work. Now, that's either done through doing it post-workout or doing it pre-workout, and give or take, you're not really supposed to do that, and there is a lot of people out there, a lot of coaches out there that would say don't do it pre-workout, and I'll explain the reason why soon. But increasing the cardio pointlessly and aimlessly and doing more just because you can do more, you are just giving yourself less runway for progression. The cardio and the amount that you do is going to be dictated by the lifestyle and the amount of time that you can spend in the gym doing some form of cardio, or out on a bike ride doing a certain amount of cardio. If you're someone that can only start with 10 minutes 4 or 5 times a week, then do 10 minutes 4 or 5 times a week. If you are someone that can start with 20 minutes post-workout off the bat, or 20 minutes 4 times a week at any point in the day, then that's exactly what you're going to do. Start with a baseline. Assess that baseline as the week goes on, as 2 weeks go by, and see exactly what things are happening. See if your body weight is moving. See if you're visually changing. see if you're obviously being accurate with your food. Are things moving in the fucking direction that you want them to go? If not, that's when we can do one of two things, or three things. We can create a further calorie deficit by decreasing the amount of calories that we're actually eating through the form of decreasing carbohydrate, or increase the amount of calories that we're burning through cardio, which could either be using the calories burned as a metric to know how many calories you're burning and keep that as a constant, or increase the amount of time that you do it. What I actually like to do now is base it off the amount of calories I'm burning because I use the same machine. So you can do 20 minutes, but you can also do a different type of 20 minutes. You can do 20 minutes and burn 180 calories, or you can do 20 minutes and burn 250 calories. It depends on the intensity. So if you are someone that keeps it relatively constant with the amount of intensity that you've got on this, like the setting with the cardio kit that you're using, then that's where we can base it off time. If you are someone that maybe feels a bit better one day, so you decide to increase the intensity, well, you can then use the calories burned as a metric rather than just the amount of time spent doing it. But it's all going to depend on you and who you are as a person and what you feel like doing, what you feel like is going to suit you best. But most people should focus on the amount of time they spend doing cardio. So remember guys, when it comes to your cardio, and when it comes to the amount of cardio you do, there's a couple of factors that we want to take into account. How much cardio are you able to do per week? Are you actually being consistent and constant with your food and your calorie intake? Because you can't out-train or out-cardio a bad diet. And are you able to create a bit more of a deficit through the amount of steps that you're doing, general daily expenditure? You might be someone who works behind a desk. You might only get a couple of thousand steps in per day. Well, could you potentially get in some more steps every single day, whether that's 1,000 or 1,500 or 2,000 more every single day by making a conscious effort to create a further calorie deficit through the amount of steps that you do? So a deficit is fairly simple. It's energy in versus energy out. So the calories that you intake, the calories that you eat versus the calories you burn through cardio, through steps. They're the main metrics that we want to focus on when it comes to getting lean. But don't do what I used to do, which held me back for a long time whenever it comes to starting diet or whenever it came to getting lean. It would be doing too much too soon. Trying to do too much cardio off the bat, speed running a diet, speed running a fat loss stage, and then getting a few weeks in and burning out. Starting my calories off too low, starting the cardio too high, basically trying to do more than what I'm able to be able to do before I've actually eased myself into getting into a good routine. All of these things are going to matter when it comes to sustaining a fat loss phase, whether that be for 10, 12, 14, 16 weeks. In order of importance, in my opinion, is going to be food, it's going to be general daily expenditure and cardio. But for some people, if you work a sedentary job, it's going to be food, then it's going to be cardio because it's less time consuming, and then it's going to be steps. But all three of these things are going to play a massive role when it comes to you creating a calorie deficit and you sustaining the fat loss to be able to get as lean as you physically can. Now, a bit of a shorter video from me, but I hope you guys find that useful. It's just most people have the issue of doing a little bit too much too soon, maybe overshooting the amount of cardio that they can commit to, maybe not even knowing what cardio that they should be able to do. But the cardio that you do is going to be dictated on your preference and what you're able to stick to consistently to get the most bang for your buck. For me, that's going to be the Stairmaster. For you, it might be the bike, it might be swimming, it might be running. We've just got to consider what our main goal is. If your goal is to facilitate muscle tissue whilst you are losing body fat, something that is allowing you to still perform at your best for your training sessions is going to be the best option. So if you're running, for example, that might have an impact on your knees, which then is going to impact your leg sessions. If you are utilizing the cross trainer, you might not be able to get as much out of the cross trainer because you have to work a little bit harder to be able to get the calories burned. So the amount of calories you burn is going to be inconsistent. With swimming, for example, you might be a little bit like me and not able to swim the amount of time or the amount of lengths or as consistently as you possibly should to be able to get the most out of your cardio, get the most bang for your buck. Whilst the Stairmaster, you can dictate how fast it moves and how slow it needs to be for you to get the most time spent doing cardio. But that's it, keep it simple. Cardio is a tool, you don't need to overcomplicate it. You want to start with the least amount possible and build up over time. Once you do that, one, you're creating a routine, and two, you're going to be creating a further calorie deficit over time that you can stick to and allowing yourself to get lean without being burnt out. But just do us a favor, I'm going to put a video down there. If you found this video useful, then click that video down there. It's just going to cover how to lose fat fast. Or I'll put another video there, which is going over minimizing your hunger in a diet, because that is also a thing that a lot of people do tend to struggle with when it comes to dieting, which then leads them to falling off the wagon. And that's it. Cheers, guys. I'll catch you in the next video.